Hi and welcome to Outwell and to the Newgate 4 from our classic collection. This is a compact tent that can sleep up to 4 people, but it's actually really versatile, so it's going to be ideal for anything from couples looking for a little bit more spacious tent over a long weekend up to a tent that, like I say, can sleep up to 4 people if needs be. So with it being from our classic collection, you'll find that the material on the fly sheet here is our Outex AirTech. So this is actually a poly cotton material, and the split here is 65% cotton and 35% polyesters. So what you will find with it being poly cotton is it has quite a few benefits. The first thing being how long lasting it is. It's a very durable tent, so it's not going to degrade particularly quickly in standard use under sunlight, for example. It's a very durable material. The second for me is the fact that it's also very breathable, so if you're away somewhere nice and warm, then this will actually keep you much more comfortable inside the tent as well, and that's because the natural material aspect to the fly sheet is breathable. We also then would talk about the fact that this tent is naturally waterproof. Now what will happen with the tent is the first time it gets wet, the seams will all actually lock themselves, so maybe it's a good idea at times to weather the tent before you use it, and what we mean by that is of course just pitching it and let it get wet, so either with a garden hose or if it is raining, let it dry, and actually that will start the waterproofing process. So the Newgate 4 features really big windows on here on both sides and towards the front as well, but what you'll hopefully notice here is actually they have a black tint to them, so that serves two key functions. One is to reduce the amount of glare from the sun inside the tent, and the second is of course to give you much better privacy from within there as well. We also have large ventilation panels on both sides of the tent and across the back where the bedrooms are, so underneath here you'll see that there is a mesh panel to allow cool fresh air into the tent. If it does get a little bit chilly, these are easy to take away. You just take these Velcro tabs off like this, and we can then just fold that down like that. But we'll leave it up for now so that we can show you that from the inside. So next I'll talk you through the frame of the tent, which is where we're using a steel frame from front to back here for the main body of the tent. Of course that's going to make it really solid and really stable. It's a very rigid tent once pitched. We also colour code the poles so that you know that you're getting the right pole in the right place. So you just see here the sleeves are matched to the poles themselves. Also I'll just highlight here that the front pole that we're using, which is attached to the front steel pole, is one of our Duratec fiberglass poles, so a good strong sturdy pole making this front canopy, which we'll see when we go around the front of the tent. So we also use our wind stabiliser system, so when I'm talking about this tent being solid and stable, it's added to with this innovative system here, so I'll show you how it works. When you're setting the tent up, all you have to do is simply wrap around the pole these Velcro tabs and then fasten into place like so. You'll find that there's one at the top and at the bottom of the poles all the way around the tent here, and this is where we have our guy lines attached. So when we pull the guy lines out and peg them into position, it actually pulls the fly sheet against the frame of the tent, and as I say, makes it much more solid and sturdy. We have tested this tent to be able to withstand very high winds, so it's naturally waterproof and it will put up with quite a lot of bad weather. One thing I do want to highlight here is that because we're in the showroom, of course we don't have all the guy lines out, but we have been able to take out a few just to highlight to you that we're using our floating guy lines on here. So this is where there are two separate parts to the guy line. At the top here you'll see that it's the black material to tie in with the trim of the tent, and at the bottom you have the luminous point here, so hopefully you're not going to trip over these quite as easily as you would do if they weren't. We then have guy line retainers on the tent as well, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we can wrap up the guy lines and form a loop with this here, pop the guy lines in there so that the next time you come to use it, they're easily accessible. So the front area here has a mud valance, and it's the same across the other side as well on this porch area, and that's just going to allow rainwater to run down and away from the inside and front of your tent. So now we'll just pop round to the front and show you some of the features there. So here we have the front door, which is a D-door style, so it's rolled to the side here. But what I want to highlight is we actually have a full mesh door just tucked away at the moment here as well. So what that means is you can leave this outside door rolled back, but then still zip over this door here. So again, if it's quite warm, then you can certainly get great ventilation within there, but stopping any bugs from getting into the tent. We then also have our tinted windows on here, and there is a large tinted window on the front door as well. Stepping into the living space of the tent, I just want to highlight, even though it's quite a compact tent, it's certainly still a full stand-up height. I'm quite tall at about 1.95 m, and I can stand up in here no problem whatsoever. As I said there then, we've got large windows all the way around the tent, But we also do have some polycotton curtains within the tent as well, which are just rolled away at the moment. But what we can do is bring these up here, so a little bit more privacy within the tent, or we can just Velcro them closed completely if you want full privacy. Up here is the mesh ventilation, which I pointed out from the outside as well. At the back is where the bedrooms are, and as I said before, again, this tent can sleep up to 4 people. You see here we've got quite a large airbed in here, just to highlight the fact that it can be used for couples who just want that little bit more space as well. The bedroom is attached using our wave-shaped hanging point system, so you can see here it's got a real nice style about it, but it's also functional as well because it takes off any pressure points from the top seam of the bedroom. Within the bedroom there's plenty of storage pockets down both sides, so that's great for smaller personal possessions, things like phones or chargers or books and things like this. Across the back we have a large ventilation panel, again corresponding to an outside panel on the fly sheet. The whole tent actually has a fully sealed ground sheet from front to back and side to side. So you can see around the sides here that it is a bathtub style ground sheet, so it comes up at the edges. That's going to stop any draft from getting in here. It's going to keep out things like dirt, dust and sand, and more importantly again, hopefully keep out those unwanted creepy crawlies as well. Just to highlight though at the front that the tent is flat fronted on the ground sheet here, so easy access in and out of the tent. But there is also a zip along here, so if you didn't have this pegged down as we do at the moment, you can actually fold this up and zip it onto the bottom of the door to create a really good sort of weatherproof entrance. There is also a lantern hanging point in here, which you'll struggle to see from the angle that we're at, but we then have cable tidies that run down the inside of the tent, and that brings us down to a cable entry point just here, so we can open this up and bring electrics into the tent through this opening here instead of having to have your door open. So we have a couple of optional extras available for the Newgate 4, which would be the fleece carpet that you can see in here at the moment, and there's also a footprint available to go underneath the ground sheet to protect it and keep it clean and dry if it's a wet and muddy day. So there you have it then, all the features of the Newgate 4 from the Classic Collection. Thank you very much for watching.